Welcome back to the Tip of the Ice-Burgh podcast, brought to you as always by InsideThePenguins.com. We asked our weekly Pens poll yesterday, and you guys all answered. We said, would you be comfortable with the Penguins running back the goaltending duo of Tristan Jarry and Alex Nedeljkovic in 2024-25? This is one of our closest polls we have ever put out. 53% say yes, 47% say no. So by a slim margin, more of you believe that they should run it back with Tristan Jarry, who has 4 years remaining on his contract, and Alex Nedeljkovic, who is set to become an unrestricted free agent on July 1st. So a new contract would have to be negotiated with Ned. So Horwat, what do you think? Would you be comfortable with Jars and Ned coming back next season?
So I don't know if they should in terms of the Nedeljkovic piece, at least. But I would be comfortable with it, yes. I think that overall, when it comes to the question of, am I comfortable with it? Yes. I just don't believe that is the proper move. But they both had show-me years this year, and they both proved to bounce back in phenomenal ways. I know things have just been devastating recently. But there could be many reasons for that. We just discussed the defense in front of them. We don't know exactly what the team is thinking, saying, or feeling about the rest of the year. And, I'd say that they've played pretty well, and the numbers just aren't going to back it up. I think they've been in games. Both goalies have gone on stretches. There was the genuine argument of the starter for a little bit there. So I would say I'd be comfortable with it. I don't know if it's the proper move, though, so I'll leave it at that.
I'm interested by you saying it's not the proper move. Are you somebody that believes that Joel Blomqvist can make that jump immediately to begin next season? Is that why you're saying it's not the proper move to bring Nedeljkovic back, or do you just think it's a money thing where Nedeljkovic might be a little too costly for the Penguins?
A little bit of both. I could see because you have to figure they shipped out Hellberg at the deadline, essentially saying that if one of Jarry or Nedeljkovic gets hurt near the end of the season, remember, they made that deal and we're still gunning for the playoffs. If one of Jarry or Nedeljkovic gets hurt, obviously they have faith in the other to still be the starter and faith in Blomqvist to be the backup, unless they're considering the other goalie in that trade to be the third string in that situation. You know what I mean?
Played ECHL hockey this season? Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to figure that the organization believes in Blomqvist already. So I'd say it's a little bit of both when it comes to the proper decision of if they have that faith in him and he's played very well, then that's a good step forward in making him maybe the backup next year, or maybe find another option for a backup and then maybe make him a third string, run 3 goalies. There's all different sorts of
there's different ways that they could go about it if they choose to not bring back Nedeljkovic. But I agree with the premise of the question. Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. I think that I'd be comfortable with Jarry and Nedeljkovic. I think Jarry showed you for the majority of the season that he is a number 1 goaltender. Now, yeah, like you mentioned, the wheels have fallen off. The wheels have fallen off the entire team, though.
Yep.
I see a lot of people saying, yeah, he's showing once again that he can't show up in the big moment. Show me a big moment over the past month. The Penguins have been dead in the water for the last 3 weeks. So why on earth are we holding it against a guy when the defense is given up? The forwards went on a stretch of 10 games where I think they scored maybe 5 goals total. They got shut out 3 times, and you're going to hold that against the goaltender? No, that's a vendetta. And I've long realized that there's a majority of this fan base, not even a minority of this fan base, a majority of this fan base that will never be able to give Tristan Jarry a fair shake after what happened against the Islanders back in 2021. They will never look past the turnover to Josh Bailey that cost the Penguins the end of that series. They will never be able to do that. That's just not in their nature anymore. And that's fine. You can live in ignorance all you want, but he has been a very good goaltender for the majority of this season, despite having a defense that has Swiss cheese written all over it. Like we mentioned, they're 27th in expected goals against per 60. That's telling you that they are 27th in the amount of goals that they should be giving up. Yet they're only 17th in goals allowed per game, and they were top 10, top 5 for a majority of this season. And that credit goes all to Jarry and all to Nedeljkovic, because there was a time where, like you said, it could have gone either way because Ned was playing well and they were riding the hot hand. There was also a month-long stretch where they rode it with Jarry because he was the guy in January. So I'm comfortable with it. I
Mhm.
know there's a lot of people that are going to dislike that take, but hey, that's fine. They have 4 years left on that contract, and at $5 million for the majority of the season, he's been worth that money. So I'm perfectly fine giving him another chance, especially if it's behind a better defense. Now, again, if is a very strong word, doing a lot of lifting in that
Mhm.
sentence. That's up to Kyle Dubas. Maybe he should listen to my 4-step plan that I did in the second segment. Maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't, because I'm also not an NHL general manager. But I think when you look at Jari right now, his numbers do not reflect that of a great goaltender. But when you look at the story all encompassing and see how much the Penguins defense has given up the entire season, because let's not forget, even at the beginning of the year, they had their issues giving up more odd man rushes than any team in the National Hockey League. With all of that encompassing, I think that I would be comfortable with Jari and Nedeljkovic back. I agree with you, though. What is the price tag on Nedeljkovic?
Mhm.
And where is Joel Blomqvist? I feel like it's still too early to say, hey, at the beginning of next year, he's automatically the number 2. I feel like it's still too early for that. But again, that's just my opinion. I feel like he needs to start next year at the AHL level. You need to see that growth over the summer and what it looks like at the level that he's already had a track record in, and then see if he can make that jump and just kind of take your time with that, because goaltenders, as you know, Horwat, they're voodoo, and a goaltending prospect is more voodoo than anything, because as we all know, development is non-linear. So it's an interesting decision, because the Penguins have that young stud grooming himself in the minors, getting ready for his opportunity. But also Nedeljkovic has been a very, very good backup. And we saw how many years in a row that they should have changed the goaltending situation, and they didn't. Now, this is the first year that you can say, honestly, yeah, maybe they should run it back. And now everybody's saying to change it. So, it's going to be an interesting summer for many reasons.
Yep.
But I think that this should be the free space on the bingo card for Kyle Dubas if he's able to get Nedeljkovic back on a half decent, like on the same contract would be perfect. But we all know he's probably going to ask for more, unless the negotiating table is a war zone. So unless you start saying, oh, what happened at the end of the year here, right? I mean, you didn't hold up the entire year, which, that's the negotiating table. I would say, look at the defense in front of me. But at the end of the day, it's an intriguing duo to me, and I think it's a duo that could backstop the Penguins to the playoffs once again.